All right. Shalom.
Shalom.
First and foremost, we want to give all praise, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh.
Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem HaKakodash.
We also want to give double honors to our apostles and our elders of Great Millstone. Peace, blessing, and many salutations unto you elect across the four winds of this earth, fulfilling your lots in all truth and all sincerity. We are the Great Millstone Dallas branch, coming to you all with another classroom session lesson in hopes that you all will be edified, because that's the purpose of us doing these lessons and these shows. Not for us, but to edify the church. Just as the scriptures say, as Yahushua told the Apostle Peter to feed his lambs and feed his sheep. We do this in a form of ministry, prophesying, serving one another, or putting this energy out here. Okay, so what we're going to talk about today is something that's happening, and what's taking place is you have a large influx of Israelites. Esau would call them immigrants and such, but you got waves of them that are coming into America by the thousands daily. By the thousands daily. Makes sense why, a lot of the prices are getting high on stuff. It's a lot more mouths to feed, but that's in a physical sense. But look at it spiritually too. That's a lot more mouths to feed, so that's going to make our role here in the ministry a lot more dynamic than what it was. Because you got a lot more Israelites that are of the northern kingdom than the southern kingdom, and they're all coming in here. And even with these immigrants that are coming, you got a lot of southern kingdom that's there too. Parts of Veracruz, Mexico, a lot of people that you would think of Zebulon are really Judah, Benjamin, or Levi. Especially Benjamin. That's right. So we're going to go into the scriptures. We're going to touch upon prophecy. Is at the end of the day, the reason why this is happening is because the Lord is getting ready to save a lot of Israelites and destroy a lot of Israelites too. Because you come and cross that threshold and enter into Babylon, what do you consider? Either a 1/3 or you're of the 2/3. So yeah, we can start off on that Jeremiah. Whoever has it.
It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50, and verse 33. It says, "Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together."
Now, when you read this here, this is going into modern-day Babylon.
Yep.
Okay, it's going into modern-day Babylon. Because in ancient Babylon, because a so-called theologian scholar will tell you that's pertaining to ancient Babylon. But what cuts that is it makes mention the children of Judah and the children of Israel were oppressed together. The tribes weren't oppressed together back in ancient Babylon. Now, of course, granted, you had a diaspora of the northern kingdom that was in there. We don't take that away. But this is a grand prophecy going into the final Babylon where the Israelites would be joined together.
Right.
And they were going to be joined together, starting with oppression. Matter of fact, Revelation, Brother Shaw, chapter 11, please. Yeah, please.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 3 and 18. "And in those days the house of Judah shall walk with the house of Israel, and they shall come together out of the land of the north to the land that I have given for an inheritance unto their fathers." So, yeah. Basically, we know that the northern kingdom left the Assyrian Empire to come over here to the Americas. All right, and then the Lord brought Judah, Benjamin, and Levi over here on slave ships. And basically that, linked, Judah and Ephraim. And then ultimately in the 60s, 70s, he gave the Holy Spirit. And that marked the rebuilding of the tabernacle of David. Because we had been separated as a nation. Northern and Southern Kingdom have been separated since pretty much after Solomon's fall. We were separated.
That's right.
And then going into the time of King Hezekiah, Jake, the Assyrian, left the Assyrian Empire. The Northern Kingdom left the Assyrian Empire and came over here to the Americas. That's where you get the Native Americans already being over here.
That's right.
Christopher Columbus discovering, what they call Indians. Those are Israelites, So basically prophecy is being fulfilled. With all of these immigrants coming over here, it's only hastening prophecy being fulfilled.
That's right. Beautiful. Yeah, it's like we're getting a visual, which we see it when we see the northern kingdom, of course, too. But you remember in 2 Ezra 13, which we're going to read that too here in a little bit. But he gets that visual of seeing the northern kingdom, and he's asking the angel, who are these? Because he's never seen them before. The angel broke it down, and we're seeing that. We're going to see it a lot more when these waves come in. Because they're coming in by the thousands, like 9,000+ people a day. people coming from Venezuela and such. It's a lot, you know. Oh yeah, come on.
Jeremiah 50:4. In those days, in the previous scriptures, talks about when Russia is getting ready to destroy America, which we see that happening now. But I'll just jump to the point. In those days and at that time, saith the Lord, the children of Israel shall come, they and the children of Judah together, going and weeping. They shall go and seek the Lord their God. They shall ask the way to Zion with their faces thitherward, saying, come and let us join ourselves unto the Lord in the perpetual covenant that shall not be forgotten.
Heavy. That's right. And that opportunity is going to be given in a more macroscopic way when these people start coming. You know, it's the spirit. And I know y'all have experienced it in the evening camp. We've experienced it in the noon camp where Issachar and Northern Kingdom just popping up, listening, asking questions. Remember about a month ago, Shapal? It was like damn near a month straight where they was just coming up asking questions. Northern Kingdom. There was one brother that was specifically asking about Issachar, and we broke it down to him. And you saw this thirst in his face, like he wanted to know. You know, so the Lord is opening up that spirit for them to receive it.
That's right.
As they're coming up here. Was there more than that? Okay. We can also read this Revelation 11 really quick. And this is going into the tribes being brought together in a low state, and eventually it's going to segue into deliverance. Okay? You can start from the top.
This is Revelation chapter 11, verse 1. It says, and there was given me a reed like unto a rod, and the angel stood, saying, rise and measure the temple of the Most High.
Now that's a very heavy aspect when you think about it. Because that reed, what's that reed going into? The scriptures. That reed is going into the scriptures, right. And with the scriptures, what does he command them to do? To measure the temple of the Most High with these scriptures, bro. Preaching his gospel, bringing his word out. This is how the Israelites are being measured. You know, the word is being given unto them. That's why when Jake dies, there's going to be no cloak for their sins. You know, because that rod is also a striking instrument for rebuking, for chastening. And when we received this word and we were converted, we were chastened in some ways. Certain old ways that we followed, certain things that we was doing, celebrating holidays and such. Certain brothers got cussed out before they brought in. You know, certain of those brothers that was that guy on the other side asking those questions. You know, it might not have got it, but eventually got it. You know, but eventually when his word is brought out, you know, that's what happens. You know, it strikes you. Remember, you brothers did a bad lesson a few months ago going into that. You know, y'all brought that out. You know, but yeah, go ahead.
Revelation 11, it says, and there was given me a reed like unto a rod, and the angel stood, saying, rise and measure the temple of the Most High, and the altar, and them that worship therein.
And them that worship therein. So that comes in the form of preaching this gospel, bringing this truth out. And the reason I want to talk about this because that obviously it's a heavy lie. We get that 100%. But just wait until Jake start coming up out of waves, because we see these people daily. There's people you passing by, that little old lady that's Issachar. You think she was born over here, but little do we know she's not even Issachar. She's out there in Venezuela, was struggling, going through it. These people that are coming up here are experiencing a lot on their voyages. They're being sent to spots like New York, Chicago. Remember, they from tropical places. So when it gets cold, they ain't gonna know what to do. You got thousands that are traveling up here dying.
Yeah.
Dying, bro.
Getting trafficked. Children getting raped and all kinds of
That's
stuff.
right. Right in front of them, and they can't do shit about it. They can't do nothing about it. They gotta take that. These are parts that Esau won't even, you know, as much as Esau liked to discover stuff and had that camera out, you know, and record the animals jumping slow motion, doing that slow blink, you know. Yeah, but they don't go to them areas and see all the trafficking that's taking place. There's areas that they won't even touch. But you got people, you know, Sounds of Freedom comes to mind. That's, you know, as a movie was taking place, but these people are living that right now, that are coming in, that have that trauma in their minds.
These are they that came out of great tribulation.
That's right, brother. That's
the ones that make it ultimately, man, crazy.
Yeah, like you have people that are being brought to parts of New York and Chicago, and getting government aid and assistance, where they're putting them in these nice hotels, they're giving them phones, they're putting a little money in their pocket, you know, and these people are recording TikTok videos in Spanish, and like, look, man, this is America. This is what America got to offer.
Right.
Come on through.
Come back. Come over here.
Come on over here. Which is causing people to drop in Venezuela, dropped everything that they're doing to come over here, traveling 2,000 plus miles by feet. This is happening right now, you know? So you can imagine what's going on in their mind when they come over here, bro. And we're seeing these people daily. You know, there's a video I want to play here in a minute, just like 2 minutes. We can get the audio of it, but just to go into what's happening right now. Go ahead.
Verse 2, but the court which is without the temple leave out.
So he's going into measuring the church. Remember, measuring the church, measuring the temple. He likens it to the form of a rod. That's explaining, teaching the scriptures to our people. Okay? But he says, those that are without the court, we go read it again?
It's like, yep, it says, but the court which is without the temple leave out.
Salaki, yeah, the court that is without the temple leave out. Why?
And measure it not, for it is given unto the Gentiles.
Right. So when it comes to the actual other nations, they're excluded from receiving this knowledge.
Right.
They're not being measured. Go ahead.
Yep. It says, and the holy city shall they tread underfoot 40 and 2 months.
Right, 40 and 2 months, which really goes into a 350-year period of time. Okay? Starting around the early 1600s, all the way to the early 1960s, mid-1960s, when Elder Abba Bivens came on the scene. That's that time span that's going into. 350 years. Go ahead.
Verse 3, and I will give power unto my 2 witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth.
Which is really going into that 40 and 2 month period. All right, these 2 witnesses are going into the northern and the southern kingdom as they were oppressed, which is why that Jeremiah is so crucial. The children of Judah and the children of Israel were oppressed together. Okay?
Right. Because that 40 and 2 month period is really that 3.5 days, that 350 years, where basically it was fulfilled, everything that the Lord had brought up on us.
That's right.
All the way leading up to the final captivity, you know, where the Lord will bring Judah and Ephraim back together. Because the last time we were together and partied and had a good time was at 1 Kings, the 4th chapter,
Right.
under King Solomon. So a lot of, you know, Judah having a problem with Ephraim and saying that the so-called Mexicans, so-called Puerto Ricans are not Israelites. It's just that we haven't been together in so long
That's right.
that it's just like it's foreign. But through this word, you see the connection. We accept one another. And that's the closing of the breaches, the rebuilding of the tabernacle of David. You know, so some of those that are coming over here are a part of that. You know, it's just, again, they have to receive the engrafted word whenever they hear it, however they get it, you know.
That's right. Beautiful.
This is Micah chapter 7 verse 14. Feed thy people with thy rod, the flock of thy heritage, which dwells solitarily in the wood, in the midst of Carmel. Let them feed in Bashan and Gilead as in the days of old.
Man, and that goes to even feeding abundantly. You know, that's why it says let them feed in Bashan. Bashan was a land that was known for its fruit, that it produced vegetation. And you can read about the heifers of Bashan in the Bible because they were very fat cows. You know, so it goes into feeding our people even abundantly with their word. And whatever you wanted to say with it, bro, I'm pretty sure.
Now, you're just saying there's a lot of mouths to feed, and this is how we feed them with their rod.
That's right. That's right. A lot of mouths to feed. That's right, bro. Yeah, come on.
This is Revelation chapter 11 and verse 4. These are the 2 olive trees and the 2 candlesticks standing before the Most High of the earth, or standing before the power of the earth.
The northern and the southern kingdom, the Israelites. Go ahead.
And if any man will hurt them, fire proceedeth out of their mouth and devour their enemies.
Which is happening. Okay? It's going to eventually segue into spiritual power. But that's even happening right now. All right? This word is coming out like a fire, which is why you got people like Vocab and all the rest of those people just coming up against this word. They're being burnt. You know, you think about it. All the events that are happening on this earth, you read about it in 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter, where it makes mention that the Lord was going to visit Egypt like before, right? Well, what happened to Egypt before? You had the 2 witnesses that prophesied the judgment and exactly what was going to take place, and it happened. So you look at it right now in modern day Egypt, you got these 2 witnesses that's prophesying and speaking these things into existence, like a conversation we had before brothers got here, going into what's taking place over there in Israel, how they declared, you know, the war has been declared. They were bombed by Hamas, which is pretty much of those Palestinians that are within that region. But me and this brother was talking. He was like, man, it's crazy. You know, I kind of said that last week at camp. You know, and there's numerous examples that we all have experienced on things that we've said. And you might look at the news and be like, damn, brother was just talking about that last week. Well, there you go. You know, there's power within these words. And that power has been given unto these two witnesses. Okay, go ahead.
Yep. It says, Revelation 11:5, if any man will hurt them, fire proceedeth out of their mouth and devour their enemies.
And that's part of the fire proceeding out of the mouth too, being able to speak these judgments. Jeremiah 5 goes into the word in our mouth is likened unto a fire, and these people are for wood and stubble. So speaking these things into existence, a lot of people's lives have been affected. You know, the scriptures say that Egypt shall be like woman in that day because of the shaking of the hand of the Lord of hosts. You know? Go ahead. Welcome show.
And if any man will hurt them, he must in this manner be killed.
There you go. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here's the patience and the faith of the saints. Go ahead.
Yep. Verse 6, it says, these have power to shut heaven, that it rain not in the days of their prophecy, and have power over waters to turn them to blood.
Which is ultimately why Esau wanted us to not know our God. He wanted to tear away that relationship that we had by constantly filling our people with sin and using our people to promote sin. Even we've been in this low state. The scriptures talks about 40 and 2 months we were trodden down underfoot in this low state. But they, out of all the nations, want to hide our heritage, hide our identity. You know, have us acting like niggas and use us as the niggas to promote it. So our people will stay away. And the reason why they do this because they know that once we're in good standing with our Lord, things happen. All right, we brought that out of camp yesterday in Judith. You know, the scriptures goes into that. Bob Kashaw, bro.
This is Zechariah 10 and verse 6 off the point you were just making. I will strengthen the house of
And
Judah.
can you reach a little louder for the cameras over here?
I will strengthen the house of Judah, and I will save the house of Joseph, and I will bring them again to place them, for I will have mercy upon them, and they shall be as though I had not cast them off. For I am the Lord Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua, their power, and will hear them. Just like we were speaking about earlier, some of the Jake coming over here is for salvation, some of them are for destruction. Even though the Lord cast off for a little while, the Lord is building back up the house of David once again. And you see it. We were talking about earlier at the gym, you have a lot of these artists making like Judite artists making features with Northern Kingdom now. Like a lot more frequent. You got Judah and Ephraim coming together, and even more in a spiritual sense coming into this truth with all the migrants coming in. That's gonna, like you were speaking about, that's gonna have a lot more Northern Kingdom coming to the truth.
Right.
I was out with some Israelites there. This Israelite told me, he said, you in that Hebrew stuff, right? I was like, yeah. He said, what's the Mexican tribe? I was like, Issachar.
Heavy.
I was like,
Yeah.
how he know what I'm into? I only posted like sometime, but he knew.
Yeah.
And he knew that. So when I said Issachar, he was like, yeah, that's it. And you got a lot of Northern Kingdom that actually knows about the truth, and they're gonna come in. Like I had an Israelite tell me about Caesar Borgia. I was like, for it. I was
That's
like,
a big deal right there.
that's crazy. It was like 5 in the morning.
Wow.
We was talking. He said, man, yeah. He's like the image of Jesus ain't even in. He's like, it's the son of I said, wait, don't tell me.
Yeah.
And then I said, what's that nigga's name? Rodrigo Borgia, and his son is Caesar. He said, yep. Northern Kingdom. I said, and that's what we've been talking about a lot. Yeah, out in Detroit, Northern Kingdom out there, stop playing around. Like,
Yeah.
you're gonna have a lot of them actually come in more.
That's right, man. Hey, solid, bro. Beautiful point. You know, just to add, it's like for the camps that don't really have a lot of Northern Kingdom, which is all according to the Spirit. You know what I'm saying? But my recent experience out there with those brothers on the West Coast, because they got a lot of them. You know, but one thing that they're into is that they like dig into that culture, and it makes sense why there's so many of those brothers that's in that camp, because you got the elder brother Barak, who's a Benjamite, but he extracts everything from that culture, the history and everything, and it makes sense why all those brothers flocked over there like that. You know, so it's again going into our lot to really just, and you know, it's not everybody has different lots when we get there. You know what I'm saying? But you know, since we know that so many of them are coming out, it would only help if we really got into that culture. That way we can bring it out. You know, because when them Israelites was coming up, as I was thinking about it, I'm like, dang, I wish I knew more. Which we got down through the Spirit. We got down, you know. But with all the different stuff that's there, it's like, man, if we would have really got down. But this is opportunity for us to do it right now.
Right.
Which is why we're talking about this.
Right, because Christopher Columbus Day coming up. You know,
Man, that's
there's a lot of history we can go into to tell Jake why that happened to them. Why did the Lord allow Christopher Columbus to come slaughter your ass like that?
That's right.
All of these things we're gonna have to start, you know, going into more as more of them come up.
Beautiful.
You know.
Beautiful. Hey, I was gonna say, and I know you got one to read it, but also I want that precept that you read earlier too. Going into the slaughtering. Yeah,
Okay,
that Hosea, and then we can jump back to that after.
Nah, this just a quick one for what you were saying. You know how it's important for us, you know, as ministers of Yahweh Shema Shah, you know, to pretty much, you know, understand the culture of our brothers. You know that the Lord, you know, pretty much had us subjected to right now. This is 1 Corinthians 9:20. And unto the Jews I became as a Jew, that I might gain the Jews. To them, let's see, is that the one? Salah, yeah, that's not the one I wanted, but just going to paraphrase it, he says, I became a Jew unto the Jews and a Greek unto the Greeks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so, you know, pretty much having to
Absolutely.
reach our people in the state and condition they're in now, to where we'll have to familiarize ourselves with, you know, their culture. You know,
That's right.
Like you quoted about Elder Barak. You know, that's a prime example. He's a prime example. You know.
That's right, bro. Especially for us brothers that actually live in these states where it's a lot of the Northern Kingdom. And again, brothers do a good job. Not saying like brothers ain't doing it enough. Absolutely not. I'm not saying that. But all I'm saying is, by default, it's gonna have to be intensified and heavier with the influx that's coming in. That's why I said that.
Right.
You know. Yeah, go ahead with that first bump the show.
Okay. This is Hosea chapter 8 and verse. I'll start at verse 1. I'll just skip down for you.
Come. And you're reading in the New Living Translation, right?
NLT version.
So this is the NLT, brothers.
Yep. Hosea 8:1 in the NLT says, "Sound the alarm. The enemy descends like an eagle on the people of the Lord, for they have broken my covenant and revolted against my law."
Right, and that took place back in the days of Sennacherib. You know, you can even read about Salmanassar, but you can read about those Assyrians raining down hell on the northern kingdom.
Right.
Okay, and this is what this is going into. Go ahead.
Verse 2, "Now Israel, please with me. Help us, for you are our God. But it is too late. The people of Israel have rejected what is good, and now their enemies will chase after them." And I'm going to skip down here to verse 9.
Right, and that's even happening right now.
Yeah.
You know, heavily right now. As they're traveling up there from where they're at to over here, they going through that like a mug, man. Hella traffic right now. It's a lot of trafficking taking place. You know, but guess what? They went off. Like, when you look at the Northern Kingdom's transgression, bro, all Jake went off. But shoot, you be around some Northern Kingdom, like a lot of them are witches. A lot of them are into some type of crazy divination.
Yes.
Like, it's heavy with them, bro. As the scriptures say, Ephraim's been given unto idols. They're keeping the ways of Jeroboam to the T. Like, shoot, especially out there in the West Coast, even down here in Texas, you know, they're into Santa Muerta, you know, Guadalupe. You know, they're into all of that, bro.
Right. Issacharite, I know, just said she found witchcraft books in her daughter's room.
You see?
Literally, yesterday I heard that.
Wow.
Yesterday, she told me that.
Yeah, they're into some dark stuff, man. Like the ways of Jeroboam, like what was going on, like some dark stuff, man. And Jake is still into that, which is why they got jacked up the way that they did, and the Lord allowed it. He allowed one of the most gruesome kings, one of the most gruesome empires in history to lay hold on them, which was the Assyrians. Bloody men.
Precept real quick. This is Ezekiel 16 and verse 50. "As they were haughty and committed abominations before me, therefore I took them away as I saw good." Because that's what the Lord did to them. He fucked them up, man. Because the Lord destroyed them like bad, because all the wickedness, all the wickedness they committed, even when they were over here and before they even came over here.
That's right.
The Lord messed them up because of that, and they still into it.
Yep.
They still heavy into it to this day, especially like you got it out here, but you got it out there in Detroit also. And Jake is heavy into witchcraft.
Mm-hmm.
With this one chick I grew up with, she said she was a white witch. Her grandma was a witch.
Yeah, I heard that a few weeks ago.
They witches, witches, just heavy into witchcraft. They had a plant outside. She said, yeah, that's to keep spirits up. Heavy into fucking.
And a lot of Judah say, well, that's why they're not Israelites. They were doing human sacrifice, but Judah did the same thing.
Right.
The kings of Judah Judah was doing the same thing.
Straight up.
Because the northern kingdom said they were going to leave the Assyrian captivity to come over here and keep the law, and they got over here and they went completely left.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some of them, some of the remnants of the customs, stayed, but they went left.
Right.
So when you look at the judgment that took place to them, it's all predicated upon their rebellion, man.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Heavy.
I just read verse 4 for you since you just made that point. Hosea 8:4 in the NLT. The people have appointed kings without my consent and princes without my approval. By making idols for themselves from their silver and gold, they have brought about their own destruction.
And they love Jesus, bro. They love Virgin Mary, Queen of. They into it deep, like
Right.
they're in the idols heavily. So it's like, wow. When you look at them, it bears witness to everything we're reading.
Right.
It's a store I went to a couple days ago. They had the Maria in there. I asked my chick. I said, what's that little nigga under there? What's that dude under there? Said this dude carrying her up. I was like, are you serious? Shit. Like, yeah. And it was full of it. It was a little shrine right in the store.
That's right.
Said that I told her, I said, it's wicked as hell, man.
That's right.
That's
right.
evil.
Yep. You said it was a dude carrying her.
It was a dude carrying. It's a little Mexican dude at the bottom, and it's meant to represent her being lifted up.
Yeah. Yep. Wow. Yeah. Queen of Heaven. That's the spirit the virgin birth brings too. That ultimately goes into the Queen of Heaven. Which again, Jake is heavy into, especially the Northern Kingdom.
Hosea 8, I'm going to skip down to verse 9 in the NLT. Like a wild donkey looking for a mate, they have gone up to Assyria. The people of Israel have sold themselves to many lovers. But though they have sold themselves to many allies, I will now gather them together for judgment.
That's right. I will now gather them together for judgment. All right. And hey, yeah, we do know the Valley of Decision. That's where the war is going to be fought. But Babylon is the place of judgment right here, bro. Because Babylon is the only place on the earth that's going to completely get judged from top to bottom. Where the Lord ain't going to leave no root nor no branch, as the scriptures say. So again, circling back around to what was said earlier, these people that are crossing the borders, the Lord is setting them up to either be 1/3 or the 2/3. Yep. And our job is going to be very heavy of bringing it out to these people. Go ahead.
And just if I could add just on to your point about how people are being gathered, well, the Lord is having these people to gather over here. For one, Jeremiah 51:33 comes to mind. How the daughter of Babylon is like the threshing floor. And also Isaiah 34 speaks about Babylon, being Basra, which means sheepfold or congregation.
That's right.
To where you pretty much have all these flocks, just pinned up. Ultimately to where you separate your sheep from your goats, man.
That's right. That's right. The Lord had to sacrifice in Basra. It's going to be a mass sacrifice that's going to take place over here, bro. So if you ain't an Israelite, or if you're a wicked Israelite, you're going to be a partaker within that sacrifice. Go ahead.
God. Hosea 8 and 9 in the NLT again, it says, like a wild donkey looking for a mate, they have gone up to Assyria. The people of Israel have sold themselves to many lovers. But though they have sold themselves to many allies, I will now gather them together for judgment. Then they will ride under the burden of the great king. Israel has built many altars to take away sin, but these very altars became places for sinning.
Yep.
Churches.
That's it. That's right. Chesy B, all of these places. Where's it at? Anyone got to get it. Jeremiah 7 says, the temple of the Lord, the temple of the Lord, the temple of the Lord of these. That's the spirit Jacob's been in. But ultimately, they're coming to be judged, which is why that verse is so heavy, especially seeing this taking place within our eyes. Remember, the scriptures talked about how many great kings, many great people wanted to see the things that we see. But we see it, you know? So yeah, we can jump real quick to that Revelation 11. You read the sackcloth part, right?
Yep.
That's namely what I wanted right there, that sackcloth going into us being brought down, us being in a low, humble state. So you already read that part, right? Okay, cool. That's cool. We don't got to get that part there. Let's get Galatians 4. Everybody has that going into the children of the barren. Because there's a lot of Israelites that are getting ready to come in. You know? A lot of Israelites that are coming over.
What verse, but?
Forgot exactly what verse, but it goes into, you know, it's the verse of the next verse, the verse above it goes into the Jerusalem being the mother of us all.
I got you right here.
Okay, calm, water. And just really quick before we go into this, all right, just go into it and make it clear. Eliashawamba, you said it earlier. You got a lot of Jakes that are out here pointing out the northern kingdom and saying that they're not Israelites due to whatever reasons. But out of all the Israelites, there's more of the northern kingdom than the southern kingdom. So if you can't identify who exactly the northern kingdom is, then that's your area. Because there's a lot more of them than of the southern kingdom. So they're going to have to be somewhere eventually. You know?
And Salat, they suffered before even the southern kingdom
That's
suffered.
right.
They
That's
went
right.
through it first. They went through slavery before the southern kingdom went through it. So that fact alone already shows, or is a token that they're Israelites.
That's right. That's right. And then even looking at it from prophecy's perspective, the scripture said in the last days, in Isaiah 44, the Israelites would do exactly what you see here. You don't see too many groups over there and in West, you know, they try to say that northern kingdoms in these parts of Africa, you know, but you don't see mass Israelites coming over there prophesying. You don't see that. But you see these brothers doing it and on fire. Can't tell me that don't mean something. Those are Israelites.
They over here, primarily.
Over here.
In America, bro.
That's right. Oppressed together. Beautiful.
This is Galatians chapter 4, and I just started verse 26 for you. It says, "But Jerusalem, which is above, is free, which is the mother of us all."
The mother of us all, the Israelites. You know, really the cradle of life, the cradle of earth. Go ahead.
For it is written, "Rejoice, thou barren that bearest not."
That's right, and this was a precept that was either in, I think it was Isaiah 54 and 1 or Isaiah 52 and 1. 54. God, so he's quoting Isaiah. Go ahead.
It says, "For it is written, Rejoice, thou barren that bearest not. Break forth and cry."
Because he uses Sarah as an example of the one that couldn't bear, and Hagar as the example of one that could bear. You know, so he's talking about the Israelites. Rejoice. You know, read that part again, Brother Baba Kashow.
God. Galatians 4:27, "For it is written, Rejoice, thou barren that bearest not. Break forth and cry, thou that travailest not. For the desolate have many more children than she which hath an husband."
Right. So there's a lot more Israelites, and there's a lot more Israelites getting ready to come in. The desolate is a lot more than her that had children. You know, so we're getting ready to see a lot of that here very soon. That's why through the Spirit, so many Jakes are coming in here. So many so-called immigrants, so to speak, are coming in here. Because they're getting ready to either be saved or be judged. More of them are going to be judged by default for the wickedness that they've done. But some of them are going through that fiery trial to get here to be saved. You know? There should be a little more in that verse, right?
It goes to 28 now.
Okay, it's all good. Really quick before we continue, Paul, you got that video?
Come on.
Now we're gonna play a video, and y'all are gonna hear the audio of it. That way you can all just hear it for yourselves to get the visual of how many people are actually coming in here. You just set it right. You just set it right here. Yeah.
Their lives packed on top of a moving freight train known as the Beast. Migrants seeking a new beginning over the Mexican border. These, mostly from Venezuela, men, women and children, families clamber
Pause it real quick.
where they can.
So you heard them say it. These mostly from Venezuela. So this is a gathering happening in Mexico to get over here to the States, but the majority of them are from parts of South America. You know, and they talk about this large train that's called the Beast that's carrying thousands of people over here. Go ahead, Al.
Outside the Mexican town of Arapuato. of a new wave of thousands amid a surge in illegal migration to the US. Sleeping on top of cardboard boxes here, these people had been waiting days next to tracks for an opportunity. Your VA says, despite the risk we take, I would say we have no alternatives until we reach our destination.
Pause that real quick.
Mayana's.
You see that? So they're dropping everything cold turkey and saying, this is it right here. This is it. We got to make it here. No hesitation at all. They got to get there. Because again, the light of, how they're looking at Babylon is being a golden cup, streets paved in gold, just as the scriptures say Babylon will be personified as. So they don't know. So they coming up here and they don't know what they're coming up here to. You got a lot of these people that are from these areas, I said it earlier, where it gets pretty warm. But they're getting sent to places like Chicago, places like New York.
Mm-hmm. They're putting them in the hood too.
That's right.
And a lot of Judah getting mad,
Yeah.
protesting with their governors. In Atlanta, they just threatened to bomb I forget, because basically the governor over there is allowing in all of those immigrants, and Judah is mad as hell.
Judah's hot.
They pissed. Because basically the elite see those northern kingdom that's coming in as cheap labor.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You can pay them under the table. You keep you know what I'm saying? You keep their secret, they keep yours. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to deal with insurance and all of that. So Esau looking at this as a come up. It's a lot going on at the same time, but overall, like the priest is going into, they're being brought over here for either judgment or deliverance.
Yeah, heavy.
Here too, with her partner and 6 children. She says, my goal is to be able to get to the United States and to enter legally with my family, to have the opportunity to work, for my children to study, learn languages and new things.
Just like Egypt was
Large
known for.
numbers continue to overwhelm officials as they pour into Texas border towns. El Paso is described as at breaking point. More than 8,000 turned up in the city of Eagle Pass this week. U.S. Homeland Security Secretary.
So you see that, El Paso alone, more than 8,000 people are right there just posted up. And you got thousands of people that are entering the country daily. That's a lot of people there.
Yeah.
Visited the president of Honduras in Texas.
We are seeing an increase in the number of migrants arriving at our southern border. This is a reflection of the fact that the number of displaced people, not only in the entire Western Hemisphere, but globally, is at an historic high. Our immigration system is absolutely broken.
Broken.
This week, the Biden administration announced temporary protected status to 500,000 Venezuelans already in the US. But these are record migration flows, marking a turning point after numbers had dropped.
So again, these are record migration flows. I like how they're wording these things too, because the Lord is allowing these Israelites to flow right in here, bro. This is why this is happening. Yeah, it might be the Biden administration doing whatever the hell they're doing. It's the Lord overall, man. He's bringing Jakes in here to receive the word. That way prophecy will continue to be fulfilled. That's why this is all happening right now. Right now like that. On top of all these other events that are happening on the earth. You had Israel that just got bombed today by Hamas, which is a big deal.
Taking some of them as, prisoners.
Yup.
Crazy, bro.
Crazy stuff. Then you got all these earthquakes happening. Bro, Cali just flooded last month. No, it was Slovakia.
New York flooded.
New York flooded last month. Cali just received a hurricane for the first time in damn near a century. New York is sinking right now.
Man, we had a tornado alert in Michigan. Tornadoes in the suburbs of Detroit. Fucking tornado. Balak said a lady told him that she's never seen weather like. I've never seen a tornado alert go off other than the one that sirens every month. I was like, it's like 11 o'clock, and I said, the fuck is that?
Man, heavy.
That's a tornado sirens going off. I'm like, this shit real. Yeah. This shit crazy.
Yeah, facts. Facts. And the beauty of it is, on top of all of that, is that we are speaking these things into existence by the Holy Spirit. These are things starting with our apostles and elders all the way on down that we've been commanded to. which is why it's been heavy, so heavy on the apostle to hard to push. Do your lessons and shows, brothers. Do your lessons, do your shows. Not everybody's gonna do it. You know, we get that. Everybody's gonna do a whole lot. You know, but I'm just going into the aspect of the importance of this gospel. You know, because the earth is changing. Things are happening.
Yes.
You know, just as they were wording it right now, these immigrants, it's in a way that it's never been. You know, all this is being done by the foolishness of preaching through the Holy Spirit. You was gonna say something else already?
Yeah, on the migrant thing, I was out in Chicago a few weeks ago, and that shit's real out there. Like, I've been to Chicago a couple times. It was decent. I went this time. I was like, man, Chicago's filthy. It's gross. Like it's brothers was saying how there's migrants just camped outside of the police station for just blocks. They got, and then on the point of Judah getting mad, the elder Bahra out there, he said that Judah's getting pissed because they helping them out more than they helping out the homeless Jake that been there for years.
Yeah.
So it's the prophecy's moving. The spirit of Yahweh Shai is moving in the earth, which is prophecy.
That's right. Yeah, beautifully put.
This is Hosea 9:3. They shall not dwell in the Lord's land, but Ephraim shall return to Egypt, and they shall eat unclean things in Assyria. And this is the modern day Egypt and Assyria right here. So a lot of them will go come over here and just get worse and just get judged, you know. But again, we know that there's mercy promised as well to a remnant.
Beautiful. Yeah, there's a lot of people that we're looking at daily that just like, oh, that's just Issachar. That's just Issachar. No, bro, that person was an immigrant, bro, that traveled through hell and back to get over there, bro. Like, people that we're seeing daily have no idea, bro. No clue. We're seeing a lot of that, and we're going to see more and more of it, man. I was at the store a few days ago, and there was this Issacharite, but she had a different look to her. Like, you know, she didn't look like she was this Dallas Issachar. And she walked by and said, "Screw me, Poppy." And I'm over here like, oh, it kind of made me feel good a little bit. You know? But it wasn't, but that slang isn't used over here like that, is why I brought that up. And immediately when she said that, I was thinking like, yo, she might be from down there. You know? Shoot. And there's more testimonies and examples brothers can probably give, you know? But hey, that's why I brought that example out. Just personal example. Like, I don't think she was from here, because they don't just be saying that like that. You know? But yeah, go ahead. You said you had a preset?
Come,
go ahead.
I'm gonna grab this one real quick. This is
And then we can read 2 Ezra 13, and anybody don't got nothing else after that, we can close out. Oh, we'll play more in the video too. Matter of fact, let's play it. Just finish it up, and then you can bring yours out. Okay.
Administration announced temporary protected status to 500,000 Venezuelans already in the US. But these are record migration flows, marking a turning point after numbers had dropped. Despite the dangers faced, more are coming. Adele Robinson, Sky News.
You're right. Into the beast country on the beast.
Bringing forth their children to the murderer.
That's right. Bringing forth their children to the murderer. Beautiful. Because that's what's taking place. The government aid and stuff. Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're, like you said, they're going to be working and everything like that for cheap labor. But a lot of them are bringing them in to really disrupt a whole lot. The scripture saying in what Sirach, the 12th chapter, as iron rusts, so as its wickedness. Never trust thy enemy. You know what I'm saying? Even when he doeth good, believe him not. You know, so he's bringing them in there to get, you know, bring as sheep led, to the flock of the slaughter. You know, that's getting ready to happen. Go ahead.
Okay, God. Yeah, if I can also add this real quick, and this ultimately, because we know Esau's end goal, man. He wants to erect his end to the W to the O and see-hip the masses. And this, he's creating a lot of chaos, and he wants to bring that order, and he's allowing this a mass influx of people in here. So what's his excuse going to be to see-hip the people? Okay, well now we need to track all these people because things are just getting out of hand. We need to know who everybody is. We need to know your medical status. So this is a perfect opportunity. This is a perfect crisis, to implement that C-hip, man.
Yeah, even with that, the diapers coming back on people's face, the disease, the fake disease they done created coming back up.
Right.
They gonna blame it on them. Oh, they're bringing it up here. They're bringing sicknesses. It's order out of chaos.
That's right. Yep. Pressure from beneath and pressure from above. That's right, bro.
Okay. This is Hosea 13:1 in the NLT. it says, when the tribe of Ephraim spoke, the people shook with fear. For that tribe was important in Israel. But the people of Israel but the people of Ephraim sinned by worshiping Baal, and thus sealed their destruction. Now they continue to sin by making silver idols, images shaped skillfully with human hands. Sacrifice to these, they cry, and kiss the calf idols. And just, laying back on, y'all's points, about how, how the Northern Kingdom is heavily into idolatry. Mm-hmm. So anybody, especially these Negro onlys, they try to use that excuse that, see, they can't be Israel because, they heavy off with that witchcraft and idolatry.
It's not spiritual.
Yeah. When you look at Jake, where I'm from, we're in Louisiana, down south in New Orleans and Baton Rouge, a lot of Levi, man, and they into voodoo. Okay, so now they not Jake?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's a very carnal-minded argument for somebody that says they believe in the scriptures. We have these prophecies to allude to be able to identify who is. Mm-hmm. Whether it's Esau, we got these prophecies to identify these are the Edomites. Just as we have these prophecies to identify who the Israelites are. Right. That's why the scriptures goes into it. Genesis 49 is a key point. Yeah. Talked about that. We talked about Levi and talked about Simeon.
Yep. And Fobi, I remember them saying that the so-called Mexican and the Northern Kingdom can't be Israelites because there's too many of them.
Right.
And they use the scripture that it will be a small sanctuary wherein the Lord has scattered us. Right. But that's speaking of the believers.
Right.
Because the prophecy said Israel will be as the sand of the sea, but a remnant will be saved.
Right.
So it being a lot of the Northern Kingdom only fulfills prophecy that the Israel will be as the sand of the sea, but the believers, the remnant, is what we're concerned with.
Beautiful. Verse 16 in the NLT says, the people of Samaria must bear the consequences of their guilt because they rebelled against their power. They will be killed by an invading army, their little ones dashed to death against the ground, their pregnant women ripped open by swords. This is what's going on, man. Like, the elders and the priests, bringing up, their voyage up here, to America. You got these particular troops and, just barbaric tribes just raping and doing all these horrific things into Jacob, Mm-hmm. But this is all a part of the Lord's judgments that, hey, because at the end of the day, man, hey, and this is a cut on Christians and vocab saying that we're trying to fit ourselves into these curses, man. Like, this is us literally, like, y'all was going to their camp yesterday, prophesying in sackcloth, man. Like, you look at the Northern Kingdom coming up here, man, they're cursed people. You got little babies just covered in mud, hiding from panthers and jaguars, like, and that fulfills Deuteronomy 28. It says, for your feet shall find the soles of your feet shall find no rest wherever you go.
That's right. It's all according to prophecy, man. People like vocab and other people like that can't get it because they haven't been given the gift to understand prophecy. We've been given this engrafted word, brother, so, they can call us fitting it in, whatever, and the scriptures say Jake will try to fit it in. Isaiah 44. Now, that right there is, Isaiah, when we read Revelation, the 11th chapter, measure the church, so, hey, you got to get in where you fit in sometimes. Shoot. Jake had to, supplant Esau to get the blessing. So it be like that sometimes. Was that it on that one? God, that's a bad. We can read 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter, starting at the part where Ezra's asking, who are these? Because it's going to come to that point where the Lord is gathering these tribes together. That way we can serve the Lord together. And I did a class about a month ago going into when the Lord gave the first covenant, when the first covenant was established, you had both parties that was present at that time.
Yep.
The Northern Kingdom and the Southern Kingdom. Well, 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter, literally is going into what Ezra's seeing, that calling together the tribes again. That way we can all receive that second covenant together.
We just read it in Jeremiah 50.
That's right.
Let us join ourselves together, Judah and Ephraim, with a perpetual covenant that should not be forgotten.
Beautiful. That's it right there. Solid.
Before we get to that, can I get this real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
This is John 10 and verse 16. And other sheep I have which are not of this fold, them also I must bring, and they shall hear my voice, and they shall be one fold and one shepherd. like you said, all come together.
That's right.
All come together as one. Even Yahushua himself came and visited the northern kingdom as Quetzalcoatl.
That's right.
And even the bugged out as Mormons understand that those are the 10 tribes
That's
that,
right.
that Yahushua is going to bring them all together as one, because it's all about the tabernacle of David coming back together and
That's
being established.
Beautiful.
It's,
That's it.
it's not the heathens.
Yup.
It's not the heathens. It's the Lord bringing that which was broken, making it whole once again.
That's it.
Yeah, and that Quetzalcoatl, that's a beautiful example of it. Because as soon as they came over here, Yahushua revealed himself, and they called him the feathered flying serpent. And the way they described him as a dark-skinned man with woolly hair.
Yep.
You know, descending down. You know, but eventually what took place was they turned it into an idol. Started chopping off heads, drinking blood, doing all those abominable ritualistic acts that was done in the days of Jeroboam. You know, so they even turned that into something that's wicked. You know, but all in all, like the brother's saying, Yahushua came and presented himself to them, and they documented that.
Yep.
That's in their own writings.
Yep. That is,
You know?
and he told them the story of himself.
That's right.
About what him being born. Because I was reading an article about it. They mix it in with bullshit. But Yahushua told him the story of himself, of him being born, him having to be crucified. He dealt with them and then bounced. It's dope, man.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say, bro. I was talking to the brothers out there in Cali, and I'm like, man, I can't wait till we're able to actually see how that played out.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these brothers of the Northern Kingdom, like, was part of that flock of believers. That remnant was always there.
Yep.
You know, so you got brothers that are fervent for Yahushua that was there, and seeing that man descending from the heavens and actually talk to them. Because that John, matter if I read that again,
Yeah,
John
yeah.
10 and 16. Let's
Yeah.
read that again real quick. Because that goes right into 2nd Ezra 13. Because Ezra was told about this flock, and Yahushua reaffirmed it. Reaffirmed that flock he was going to have to teach to. Physically teach to.
This is John 10 and verse 16. And other sheep I have which are not of this fold. The fold what? The fold that was over there at the time. The southern kingdom. They were there. They seen Yahushua.
That's
But
right.
the northern kingdom, they didn't see him.
Right.
But he came to them. Them also I must bring, that they shall hear my voice, and there shall be one fold and one shepherd.
There you go. So they was going to eventually hear the voice, you know, and that's also taking place right now through the Spirit. But they heard it first, just as Judah heard it first. You know, the Lord had raised up the tents of Judah first. The southern kingdom, Judah heard it first, and the northern kingdom had to hear it too by him. You know, the water. That's a good precept.
You see 13?
Yeah. Yep.
So-
No, 2nd
Second
Ezra
Ezra
13.
I got
Going
it.
right into the northern
First.
kingdom.
Go.
Yeah, he got it.
2nd Ezra 13 and 32, and the time shall be when these things shall come to pass, and the signs shall happen which I showed thee before.
Because Uriel was showing Ezra the destruction. When you read about the beginning of this chapter, how Yahushua was going to come down and incinerate. And this is the same message all those men spoke. Even in Jude, Enoch talked about that when you read about it. You know, so this is a prophecy that all of our forefathers, pre-flood and post-flood, looked for. Go ahead.
And then shall my son be declared, whom thou sawest as a man ascending.
Man, we just, hey, bro. Those brothers seen it when Yahushua ascended, and you had brothers that saw Yahushua descend, man. According to actual documents, you know, both tribes saw that. Go ahead.
Verse 33, and when all the people hear his voice, every man shall in their own land leave the battle they have one against another. And an innumerable multitude shall be gathered together.
Hey, read down a little further, because that right there is going into the judgment
Okay,
that's going
come.
to take place.
Verse 39.
Okay, come. Verse 39, and whereas thou sawest that he gathered another peaceable multitude.
There we go. So now it's going into another peaceable multitude. What the brother read and prior back to that is going into how Yahushua is going to come back and visit the earth. Okay? Now Ezra is also seeing in this vision, because remember Uriel, when he talked to Uriel showed Ezra a series of visions and such. You know, so he's actually seeing this large multitude come up. Now you got to think about it. Ezra did not see the northern kingdom like that. He was part of the southern kingdom. He was a Levite that lived over there in the land. You know, so he's seeing this large number of people that he had no idea who they were. They knew about the Northern Kingdom, but the Northern Kingdom was long gone for a long time.
Yep.
So this is a new experience for the prophet Ezra. And brothers, we're blessed more than we think, because we're gathered together, and this is where we grew up. So we've been seeing these brothers for quite some time.
Right.
But the Southern Kingdom back then, never seen it before, bro.
And
Something
they had
completely new.
And that the Southern Kingdom looked at them as castaways.
That's right.
Because none of their kings did right.
Mhm.
So Judah, always looked at the Northern Kingdom like they gave up on the Lord,
Solid.
like they were never, apart. Because when you look at the kings of Judah, about 6 of them did right. When you go to that split on the Northern Kingdom, none of them did.
None of them did right. That's
One
right.
of them did, maybe grew up as a baby doing right, but as soon as he got older,
Yep.
he did wrong.
That's right.
When you look at the chart, but none of them did right. So Judah always felt privileged, and as if which Judah really did, the Lord used Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, at the time of Yahushua, he gathered from amongst the circumcision.
Mm-hmm.
But there were always going to be a remnant of the Northern Kingdom that was going to be brought back as well.
That's right. Beautiful.
2 Ezra 13 and 39, and whereas thou sawest that he gathered another peaceable multitude unto him, those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Salmanazar the king of Assyria led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land.
Right. And we all know that breakdown, brothers. We all know that breakdown. But again, the beautiful part, well, many beautiful parts of that breakdown, but what stands out is that Ezra was seeing something and experiencing something he's never experienced before.
Right.
And this is something that we see here on the daily, which is why our lot is so heavy and so important. Especially as we've been going into this class where you got all these immigrants that are getting ready to come in. These are Israelites, which means that this is part of our responsibility.
Verse 41, but they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt. Verse 42,
Which is America.
Verse 42, that they might keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land.
That they might keep their statutes. So the Lord allotted them this whole side. And when they came over here, of course, they had the mindset to keep the statues, and they did it for a period of time. Again, Yahushua visited those brothers, but immediately they went off. I got a quick precept actually just going into, the blessing that was given unto Issachar and Zebulun. This is Deuteronomy chapter 33, and I'm going to start at verse 18. And it says, and of Zebulun he said, rejoice, Zebulun, in thy going out, and Issachar in thy tents. They shall call the people unto the mountain. There they shall offer sacrifices of righteousness. For they shall suck of the abundance of the seas, and the treasure is hid in the sand. And that was as they went over there into that land at a point in time. But they couldn't keep it. But that's what they went over there to do initially. And it was a beautiful, fruitful place where they came over here. Even Puerto Rico, the door of riches, all those riches that was there. And the Lord laid them out when they first came. They just went off immediately.
Even James Adair, in that book of Native American Indians, he said their laws were very similar to a Mosaic law.
Absolutely.
Because they are those people. They have those laws. They just fucking jaked it.
That's right.
And on day 2, they called upon a name similar to the name of the Most
They
High.
called upon Yahweh and Yahushai.
Yeah.
Salaki, brother.
It was, in that book, The History of the Native American Indian, he talks about that, like you said, that their laws, their customs were similar to that of the nation of Israel, and that he believed, he dwelt among them for 40 years plus, so we got to see the ins and outs. But
yeah, that's right. Yeah, they actually called on Yahweh and Yahushai. Those are the names that they called on.
Well, ain't there a movie where they had some guy saying Yahweh?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And even on Native American reservation to this day, they keep teepees for the homeless, and for the drug addict. That's a part of our custom.
That's right, brother. Very nomadic people, the people that dwelt in tents.
I was like,
very
oh,
similar.
so like,
No, you got it.
I went on the res and I was first time the chick told me, she was like, yeah, they do that. I said, the Israelites. I ain't said that to her, but that's what I was thinking.
Hey, we had Gad Punk. I mean, he was through, but
Yeah, but still, that was a spirit.
It's a sign.
Yeah, it's a sign. That's right. Beautiful points, brothers. Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
2nd Ezra chapter 13 and verse 43. I'll start at 42 again. It says that they might keep their statutes which they never kept in their own land.
Read 41.
Con.
Read that.
2nd Ezra 13 and 41. But they took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt.
And this is speaking of the Americans.
Mm-hmm.
This is how the Native Americans were already over here. And that word dwelt, I remember looking it up, it means kind of like governed. Because people were over here. People had been over here, but it's never
Yeah,
been
right.
a place where man set up and governed and really, so that's speaking of over here in the Americas.
Beautiful.
Verse 42, that they might keep their statutes which they never kept in their own land, and they entered into Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river. For the Most High then showed signs for them, and held still the flood till they were passed over.
Yeah, and if the Lord wouldn't have done that, they wouldn't have been able to come over here. Very dangerous waters they travel. So like his point.
Nah, it would have been through.
Yeah.
And Issachar was good with the navigation and the stars, so the Lord just put a spirit, because it was only the Lord that could have allowed this to, because if the Lord wasn't involved, they would have been swallowed up.
That's right.
It would have been through.
That's right. He had to lift up a standard very heavily. And the same thing with Cristobal Colon. When they came over here, like they was lost. And the Lord Saint Elmo, they'll call it Saint Elmo's fire. But it was a chariot that guided them over to this land. You can research Saint Elmo's fire. Check that out for yourselves. And that's how Christopher Columbus was able, even though they had the Hebrew, the interpreter as well, but they got lost on how to get out here. So the Lord had a chariot guide them here. That way those prophecies would be fulfilled.
what was that called?
Saint Elmo's, no, stuff your shit. Saint Elmo's fire. Yeah, check that out for yourselves, brothers. Look it up. And sisters, look it up, man.
Yep, a chariot guided Christopher Columbus over here. So it was manifest destiny.
That's manifest destiny. That's right. That's right, man.
2nd Ezra 13 and 45, it says, for through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half.
Because you remember in the days of King Solomon, when the temple and the government of Israel was being established, had those ships of Tarsus, and they would travel to the land, and they would travel back, and it would take a span of 3 years. That's how we know that they went over here to the Americas, which is why they knew exactly where to go. They knew of this place they was already going to when you read this here, because it was a place that they've already been to before. Not necessarily them, but they knew about it, is where I'm getting at. Israelites been there, I'd rather say. Like you just broke down. Go ahead.
For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, and the same region is called Arsareth.
Which again is America. Go ahead.
Another land, something like that.
Then dwelt they there until the latter time, and now when they shall begin to come, the highest shall stay the springs of the stream again, that they may go through. Therefore sawest thou the multitude with peace.
There you go. And again, you think about it, the prophecies declared that this word would have to go all the way to the west anyway. So when you look at it from the eye or the lens of prophecy, it would only make sense for this place to talk about America, because this is the other end of the world. This is called the West. Even scholars have called us the West. Everybody calls this place the West, just as that area was called the East. So when you look at it through the lens of prophecy, which is why people like Vocab and other guys can't get it, because they don't got the Holy Spirit. They can't look at it through the lens of prophecy, especially when they look at it and think we're wrong everything that we do. So they're going to automatically try to come up with a rebuttal anyway. But again, you look at it through prophecy, this has to be talking about the West, because we would have to go unto the West. Go ahead.
Con. Verse 48, but those that be left behind of thy people are they that are found within my borders. Verse 49, Now when he destroyed the multitude of the nations that are gathered.
That was pretty much the point, you know, because because I know you read 41. Did you jump all the way down? Or you read?
No, we read 40 through to 48.
Okay, well that's namely the point. You know, that's pretty much it on that one, brother. You know, but that verse right there shows you who the northern kingdom are, where they would be at. And again, the reason why this, you know, I'd rather say the sole purpose of this class, the reason why it was done through the Holy Spirit, again, for brothers that came in a little later, you got Israelites that are coming in, northern kingdom that are coming in as immigrants, thousands of them coming through. And eventually they're going to have to be fed or they're going to be destroyed. They're either going to be the 1/3 or the 2/3.
Right.
The Lord is bringing them all over here to receive judgment at the end of the day, whether it be good or bad. And our job, being the men of the Lord, is to feed the sheep. But there's a lot more a lot more sheep to feed. You know, it's a lot of mouths to feed that's getting ready to come. Shoot, I might even title it that on this one. It's a lot of mouths to feed. Cool. We can end it off on that.
Zechariah 9 and 13. When I have bent Judah for me, fill the bow with Ephraim, and raise up thy sons, O Zion, against thy sons, O Greece, and made thee as a sword of a mighty man. That's Judah and Ephraim being brought together, and that's a weapon within itself in a spiritual sense. But eventually, we know once the spirit is it's going to go further.
That's right.
Esau never wanted to see this. You know what I'm saying? He does everything in his power to keep us separated, but it didn't work on the elect.
That's right. Hey, which is why they gave gifts one to another when they see the two witnesses tormented. Mm-hmm. You know, they was like, oh man, they ain't aligned with their power. We win. We got them. Mm-hmm. You know, but hey, as the prophecies declared, Hosea the 1st chapter would eventually happen. You know, these two tribes will come together and appoint one head. You know, and that's happening right over here in the land. You know, so it's a heavy portion, a heavy, I don't want to say burden, but a heavy portion the Lord is giving brothers. And there's a lot of people that's getting ready to come, and a lot of northern kingdom immigrants that are going to come by waves amongst you brothers, you know, because it's destiny. We can end it off on that, though. Any points, any closing points?
Zechariah 9 and 13.
Gone. Yeah, matter of fact, you know what? Slack it. We can end it off. You said Zechariah. Zechariah 8 and 23. Off the show.
Right, this is the book of Zechariah, chapter 8, verse 23. Thus said the Lord of hosts, in those days it shall come to pass that 10 men shall take hold out of all languages of the nations, even shall take hold of the skirt of him that is a Jew, saying, we will go with you, for we have heard that God is with you.
And that's getting ready to happen. That's happening already.
That's talking about Israelites.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's talking about Israelite foreigners, the water for that. You know, because it's already been declared that these people were no people. You know, they don't know that they're Israelites. They coming over here, calling themselves Venezuelan, calling themselves whatever. We was doing that at the point in time. So that's been happening, but that's going to be in a very big way. Like right now, actually. Fuck, very soon. Excuse my French, but it's happening right now. So there's a lot of these people that are going to get ready to come. They're going to want to learn from you. You know, learn of this truth. Just as we used the examples of a few weeks ago of what brothers have been experiencing with these Northern Kingdom coming up asking questions, you know. But yeah, we can end it off on that. Lord willing, this was edifying. I want to give all praise, all honor, and all glory to
Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai Ba'Shem HaKadosh.
double honors to our apostles and our elders of Great Millstone. Peace, blessing, and many salutations unto you elect across the four winds of this earth, fulfilling a lot in all truth and all sincerity. Shalom.
Shalom.